Hello, 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 everyone.
Hello, welcome to the Great Divide podcast.
We're trying this remote, see how we like it, and it's quite a drive for Bryson to get down to my place. So this is definitely very convenient, especially when we have a lot of stuff going on during the day. So this is a nice change of pace. So we're going to talk about more Colorado stuff today, and go over a couple of topics. How's your week been, brother?
Yeah, busy. Family's in Ireland right now, so just a lot of time to get things done.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Yep. So,
All
but yeah,
right.
let's get into it, man. We got a whole bunch of topics to discuss this week. Um, so you want to start, or you want me to?
Rock and roll.
All right, cool. So, several articles that popped up in my news feed this week, and we're just going to go at them one at a time here. First off, protests continue at dealerships across Colorado during National Tesla Takedown protests. Uh, first, it's ridiculous, man. Like, first of all, there's insurance for this kind of stuff. So, even like
What are they?
Elon Musk is not going to be hurt by this.
No. Like, what are they
Uh,
accomplishing?
if you really think and like if you're going after somebody that already owns a Tesla, there's cameras all over Teslas, and you will be prosecuted. So you should probably refrain from attacking someone because they own a Tesla. Um, uh, and even if you don't get prosecuted or taken down, like what kind of hate are you perpetuating by hurting somebody else's vehicle?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't do anything.
Are they actually hurting other people's vehicles, or are they just trying to stop the sales?
So it doesn't, this article that I got doesn't really go into anything specifically saying that they were just destroying Tesla vehicles, but I was driving down I-25 near Lincoln Broadway exit. Um, I can't remember what day, Friday or something like that. I'm getting off, I'm driving down Lincoln, and this lady I'm in the center lane. This lady's in the left lane. She goes all the way behind me across traffic to the right lane, cuts off a Tesla Cyber truck, and is literally hanging out the window, like thumbs down, doing this. Like, it's rush hour traffic. So, you know, it didn't cause an accident that I saw, but it's definitely distracting and taking, I don't know if I'm pretty sure it was a lady in the Tesla as well. Um, I don't know if she was scared or not. I'm not gonna like fear monger people here, but it was definitely disruptive to the flow of traffic, and it wasn't doing anything. It's not doing anything but dividing people even more, to the extent that, at the very minimum, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
At the maximum, it could have caused an accident in rush hour traffic, which just really pisses everyone off. And honestly, at the end of the day, it would have been her fault. And she would have, like, I would have stopped and talked to the police. And I would
Yeah.
have been like, hey, like, I saw the whole thing went down right next to me and behind me and then on the other side of me. It just seems so counterproductive to whatever it is they're trying to protest here. Like, if you hate Musk for uncovering corruption because of what you've heard, or whatever, what you think you know about the situation, this isn't the way to do it. I feel that's just my opinion. Like, Okay, you can't, and again, there's insurance. So what? You're going to just end up making insurance rates go up for everybody. Like, come on, cut it out. And that's just promoting hate, in my opinion.
It's funny you say that because, like you think about it, people are so against what Elon's doing and Doge is doing, and really, when it comes down to it, it should be a bipartisan issue. What's going on? Corruption, fraud, and waste should be every American's dream to figure out in
Well,
government.
and even more funny than that, like Obama talked about this.
Oh yeah,
Biden talked about this when he was the vice president. Like
Clinton.
all these different presidents on the left that people are still backing and supportive of, like they talked about this stuff too. Oh, but I just watched a video the other day where Obama was literally saying the same exact thing. Let's not waste money, even if it's 10 cents. We shouldn't be wasting money that doesn't benefit everybody.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's like, why are you so pissed off right now? Because your side lost, or is it because you just want to be mad all the time, or you've been listening to mainstream media and they're telling you to be pissed off? I mean, that's what the View does all the time. Oh, like these ladies on the View are literally hugging Trump before he became president,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden they hated him. And it's
Of
like,
course.
well, what changed? Please tell me what changed.
I think people need something to hate. I think people need something to argue about. People need something to dislike. And when one thing ends and is not top of mind, they just move on to something else and they find something else. And the media, mainstream legacy media, I think they propagate a lot of it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
They tell these people what to hate, and then they just jump on the bandwagon and it becomes hate.
Yeah.
And it's sad because they it just shows how much people don't think for themselves.
Yeah.
Pretty sad.
Well, anyways. So I have this article pulled up, and this is from CBS News right here in Denver. It says protests against Tesla CEO Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency are continuing to take place across the country, including multiple cities in Colorado. Since January, Musk's Doge has conducted mass federal layoffs at NOAA, the Department of Education, the National Park Service, and multiple other agencies. The department has recently terminated leases to federal agency offices and cut research funding in its push to downsize the federal government. These cuts have prompted numerous protests across the country, including here in Colorado. There's a picture on Broadway somewhere in Littleton on March 15th. And it says on Saturday, protesters gathered at dealerships in Colorado Springs, Littleton, Loveland, and Superior as part of a nationwide hashtag Tesla takedown events on March 15th. The movement is encouraging Tesla owners to sell their vehicles and encouraging people to dump their Tesla stock and protest the company. Tesla's stock dropped more than 30% in 2025 as pushback against the federal cuts continues. Tesla owners and dealerships across the country have also seen a spike in vandalism, including numerous cases at dealership in Loveland. So I guess there was vandalism. President Trump has threatened to label violence against Tesla facilities as domestic terrorism and made a show of public support for Musk Tuesday by purchasing a Tesla in front of the White House. So that's pretty hilarious. But, for or against Musk or Trump or whatever you are,
What do they
the
think?
whole purpose. What?
What do they think that's going to accomplish?
Well, it doesn't accomplish anything but more hate, more division, more dude.
Do they think that
Most
is going to just stop doing Doge? Like, what do they think it's going to actually? I don't know.
The
There's no
other part to it is like, okay, if you bought a Tesla and these protests are trying to get you to sell your Tesla, Musk already got paid.
Yeah.
That's not changing anything.
No.
If you're not going to buy a new Tesla, or they're protesting and they're asking people not to buy a new Tesla, okay, well, over half the country voted for these things.
Yeah.
So don't you think this is going to encourage other people to buy a Tesla now?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you don't want to. And honestly, every single person that I can think of off the top of my head that has either been in the that's in the cabinet or in this administration used to be a Democrat. Don't
Right.
you see there's something wrong with the Democratic uh, agendas? Trump used to be a Democrat. Elon used to be a Democrat. RFK Jr. used to be a Democrat. Tulsi Gabbard used to be a Democrat. They were all Democrats. And so,
Oh,
don't you think at the level that they're at, they've even seen more corruption than we as a regular ass people have seen?
yeah, for
They're
sure.
saying, no, I'm not doing this. This is not what is going to bring us together or make us a stronger nation or give us like a way out of corruption. And that's what Musk is doing.
Yep.
And sure, you don't have to like him, you don't have to like any of these people, but you used to love them. So please, again, tell me what changed. What is it? Because they're Republicans now?
Right.
Is that the only reason? I
Right.
mean, I'm sure you have some kind of reason, but every time I talk to somebody, they give me some bullshit answer like, "Oh, uh uh Trump is a womanizer," or uh Elon Musk is an asshole. Okay, well, you kind of have to be a little psychotic to run, several companies, be
$1 billion companies.
what's that?
$1 billion companies.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be a little crazy,
Yeah.
you know? Like the guy probably sleeps. I know I've heard this before. Trump sleeps like 3 hours a night.
Yeah.
Like when he like on during the election, like the election night and everything. I don't think like I heard multiple people say Trump didn't sleep for like 2 days or 2 or 3 days.
Right.
That motherfucker's almost 80.
But it still brings me back to my point. Like, okay, so these people are at Tesla dealerships protesting Elon because they don't like that he's uncovering government corruption and waste. He's not even really finding the corruption. He's just finding waste and cutting the waste. So by you protesting Tesla dealerships, you're saying, no, I want the government to waste my money. That's
Yeah.
essentially what you're saying.
And in
That's
the same like breath, it's like these are the same people saying, okay, we're taxed for buying things, selling things, when we get paid, when we buy, like, okay, well, that's what we're trying to uncover so that
yeah,
you can put more of your hard-earned dollars back in your pocket or keep them in your pocket.
it's ridiculous.
It's
It's
so
absolutely
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
I can't wrap my head around. The only thing that makes sense is just that they want to be mad about something all the time.
I agree. I agree. It's jumping
So
on another bandwagon to hate something.
yeah, and I'm not saying like I've seen Musk talk on Rogan many times.
Right.
Like I've watched at least 3 or 4 of the episodes, and you listen to him, and I mean, he's trying to save our world by Starlink. He went and got like I think he just like went and got the astronauts that were stuck
Yeah.
on the International Space Station. He's like, he has Starlink in rural areas and places where they can't get internet. He's got an electric car brand um that people want on the green agenda New Deal, which I don't subscribe to, but I can understand it. Okay, you think it's better for the environment? Great, go buy a Tesla or whatever you want. But
Right.
like it's the same with all the agendas, right? You're saying you can't you have to think the way I think, and if you don't, you're racist or you're whatever bullshit they want to call you,
Sure.
right? And it's like, okay, that's not even a civil discourse. You're not even saying, hey, like you're basically saying that we're stupid for having our belief system and we have to subscribe to yours. And that's the same bullshit that we heard for 4 straight years
Yep.
with the Biden administration. And, you know, it's just, it's unfathomable that people are so short-sighted and they just want to be mad to be mad instead of having a real reason to be mad. There's no real reason for them to be mad at Musk right now.
Didn't he through Starlink give Ukraine internet back?
Dude, they've done so many, like there's been so many things. When the floods happened in South Carolina, they shipped in Starlink for those people.
Yeah.
Uh, you know,
So like,
it's like it only takes like 5 minutes of Googling to find out, the benefits to any of his companies.
right.
Again, I don't subscribe to electric cars. I don't believe that it's actually a net positive.
No, I
I
agree.
think that gas is a better option, and that's just my opinion. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. I can tell you what I think. You can tell me what you think. That's great.
That's the great thing
Um,
about having multiple different kinds of cars you can buy, right?
but
You can buy
that's the
whatever you want.
problem is that these people that are hating on Musk and Trump right now, they don't want to listen to you. They won't hear you out. They
Right.
only want to tell you or scream at you and tell you what you're doing wrong. And then when you say, okay, how about this? Like Charlie Kirk is the best at this, right? He'll do a college campus event and he'll have somebody come up and he'll just be like, okay, tell me what you think. And he'll calmly just be like, no, this is really actually what happened. This is
Right.
actually what is happening. And these people lose their freaking minds. They can't even like, I mean, yeah, they put in like decent arguments, but like at the end of the day, they're going around in circles on the same bullshit.
Yeah.
But those people have a right to say that and feel that way.
Sure.
We're not trying to silence them. Charlie Kirk actually gave that, you know, gives those students or those people the platform to say what they feel and talk it out with them.
Have a voice.
And they're the ones that get all crazy about it and they're like, "No, you're crazy." Like,
Right.
okay.
Right.
Anyway, so we'll see how that continues to unfold. Like I said, I've seen it in person how people are losing their shit, almost causing a car accident during rush hour traffic. I think, I don't know if it was satire or not, but I've seen videos where they're, spray painting things on cyber trucks
Yeah.
and it's
I've seen
like
that too.
it's like years ago when you saw these kids going and splashing paint on priceless works of art,
Right.
and it's like, what is that doing? That's not doing anything. You're not fixing a problem. You're just creating a problem for yourself now.
What do you want to bet those same people 5 years ago loved Tesla because it was green?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Like I said, that they like Musk was the darling of the left at
Yeah.
one point. So was Trump. So was
Yeah.
RFK Jr. So was Tulsi Gabbard. She was on some like high committee or something. I can't remember what it was, but it's like, if you're gonna hold on to this stuff and not see that you're paying for your own demise, and we're actually trying to stop that and actually live like a decent life, and a healthy life, get poison out of our food, stop corruption by politicians and the world's elite and all these other things. It's like, if you can't see that, we're beating a dead horse at this point.
Maybe it's time that we do divide the country geographically. Just cut it right down the middle, and everybody who has logical thinking can go to one side, and everybody who just wants to do crazy stuff can go to the other side, and we can call it two different countries.
um, I think that sounds funny on the surface, but like they'll end up taking they'll take beautiful places that are people call home
Yeah,
at this point, and that's not going to fix anything either. I'm not moving out of Colorado because I love this place. I was born
right.
here. I I love the mountains. I love the you know fishing and just everything that we have here is you can't. I mean, I'm sure there's other places that have. Wyoming has mountains, Utah has mountains, all that. But it's like, this is my home. This
Yeah,
is the place I know and love, and I'm not leaving this place.
no,
So and I wouldn't ask them to leave either. Like,
yeah,
that's so ridiculous.
it was just a joke.
It's just wake. Oh no, I know, but like it's just like, wake the fuck up, man. This is not the things that are happening right now are not hurting you. This is actually really designed to help
Yeah,
everyone.
right. Government
All
waste,
right.
all that,
Yeah,
it should
it's
be
just
ended. And the previous presidents have said the same thing. It's just this is very more public, way more public, and way more effective. Um, because just because Doge has been set up, there have been previous agencies that have been set up to do the exact same thing. They just weren't as effective because they weren't Elon.
yeah, yeah. They didn't actually follow through with what they said. That it's all, you know, gaslighting. It's like, hey, we're gonna fix the problems, but never do anything.
Never
And
do anything.
and now that they're actually doing it, and let's get this straight. Like, hey, if your job is being terminated because you were working on research that wanted to find out if birds were more promiscuous on cocaine, you had to know that wasn't going to last for fucking ever, man.
If you
You
took
had to know that you had to feel deep inside yourself. Or if you work at the IRS and you are in charge of taking people's money and whether it's prosecution or not, like whatever it is, like on some level, you have to realize, like, that could be your neighbor, that could be your mom, that could
oh
be
yeah,
your sister.
for sure.
Like, anyone could be in a situation where you're homeless.
Right.
It could just be a perfect storm of problems that put you in a bad situation. And it's like, that's not what the Internal Revenue Service should have ever turned into.
We
It's
shouldn't be
like, hey, we're this
citizens.
is to build roads and pay for, unfortunately, politicians' salaries that
Yeah,
have just gotten so corrupt
but
that
even past that, I mean, we find out from the congressional hearing that they're using our tax dollars to fund terrorist organizations.
yeah,
What the hell?
yeah,
Like, okay, you want to protest Doge? You just go over and join the Taliban.
yeah,
Fly on over and grab an AK and start doing damage.
yep.
Might as well become a suicide bomber. Whatever. You're. Why are we paying for terrorist organizations? That's ridiculous. Why are we paying for birds to be tested if they're more promiscuous on cocaine? Why are we paying for these stupid? We should be paying for stuff that benefits us.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what we should.
we should be like, hey, our education is so bad right now. Let's figure out a way to make our kids smarter.
Yeah.
Let's take the dyes and the folic acid and the preservatives and all this shit out of our food so that we
Right.
can be healthier and more focused and alert at work, and live happier lives and not be stuck on big pharma
Mm,
for the latter years of our lives. And even in a lot of cases, I've said before, I have a niece that fucking died at 24 of cancer.
mm,
And it's like, I don't know how she got it. I don't know if it was food. I don't know what it was, but like it's not normal for a 24-year-old to die of cancer,
no, not at
you
all.
know. So, those are the kinds of things that the Doge and Trump and people like you and I are concerned about. I
Yeah.
don't give a shit if you drive a Tesla, and I
No.
don't I don't care. I don't care. Just because I'm opposed, or not even opposed, just because electric cars aren't my thing and I'm
Right.
not fully sold on them, and at least not enough to go buy one, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be mad at you for having one. Like, come on. And I'm certainly not going to be mad at somebody for having one because the guy that makes Teslas is uncovering corruption and showing wasteful spending that our government does with
Yeah.
your money, with my money. Come on.
It's just ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
All
It's
right.
almost like
Well,
these people don't have
it's
anything better
just
to do.
what's that?
It's almost also like these people don't have anything better to do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like half of the people are bots, but in this case, there was literally
And
people out front of Tesla dealerships all over Colorado protesting. Yeah, get a life, man. This is the biggest problem in your life. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Go live in Venezuela or something and
Third world
have
country.
some real problems.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Well,
Well,
let's move on to the next topic. What do you got?
all right. Next topic. Headline comes out. Colorado lawmakers funded an office to handle complaints against judges, and no one set it up. All right. So back in
And how long ago was that?
March of 2024, just about a year ago exactly, a board established by legislature was supposed to hire a judicial discipline ombudsman. I'm not sure if that's. I'm not even sure what that really means, but ombudsman by March of 2024. The board never met, and it's not clear why. Okay, so that it was supposed to be created by March of 2024, but so here's what happened. In 2019, a judge was caught granting a $2.5 million contract to try and cover up a sexual harassment and misconduct allegations. This is a Colorado judge. And it was in the Denver Post. And they didn't like that. So that was in 2019. So a 2022 interim committee set up in response was supposed to form a committee, and in fact, people were assigned to the committee, and they didn't even know they were assigned to the committee. So that's good. So they never actually met, never formally endorsed, but the legislature did in the following spring voting 88-11 in favor of the bill. It became pretty evident quickly when we started seeing complaints and where needs were not being met by folks that had complaints. We needed to come up with a real world solution for people to be able to not feel threatened. That was Republican Mike Lynch, and he co-sponsored the bill. The measure created a 5-person selection board made up of 2 Republican lawmakers, 2 Democrats, and a judge appointed by Governor Polis. and the board was supposed to begin meeting in January of 2024 with a deadline of March 24 to hire the ombudsman. The board appeared to have been appointed through legislative staffers, though legislative staffers disagree on who the members were by the House Democratic count. Republican Jennifer Bacon and Senator Julie Gonzalez were tapped to represent legislative Democrats, while Republican appointed Representative Rose Pugliese and Senator Bob Gardner. Pugliese, however, told The Sun through a spokesperson that she wasn't aware of the appointment. And House Republicans provided a letter dated July 2023 showing that Lynch was their appointee. So essentially, they did all this. They spent all the money. And they never actually put together anything. So more corruption in Colorado government, in the judges specifically. And there was supposed to be an oversight committee, and nobody knew they were supposed to be on the oversight committee. Nobody knew that this was going on, and they never actually met. So somebody along the lines fucked up there. Pretty much the bottom line.
So just so everybody knows what an ombudsman is, I looked it up.
Okay.
It is a neutral, independent public official or office tasked with investigating complaints against government or other organizations and seeking to resolve issues, often through mediation or recommendations. So the term ombudsman comes from the Swedish word ombudsman, meaning representative or agent. So that's what that is.
All right.
So to get back to this, okay, so they knew that there was corrupt judges. They set up a ombudsman to
a committee
to hire it.
Yeah. To hire
mediate it.
Yeah.
And then it never, people were appointed to be on the board for that without even knowing that they were on it. Mm-hmm. So nobody ever met for it. Nobody ever did anything with it. How much money was spent on that?
It doesn't actually say. So it wasn't that, I don't know that actual money was spent on it. There was a budget allocated for the committee and for the ombudsman. They discovered a $400,000 budget for an agency that had no employees. Huh. That's good. But nobody ever show up. There's no staff. There's no one that's been hired. The unhired ombudsman is now a target of state budget cuts. So they allocate the money. They assign 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and a judge to find somebody to do it. Nobody even knows that they're supposed to find somebody to do it. Years later, nobody's ever hired, and now it's going to be part of the budget cuts, so the judges never get regulated. So that's a nice
$400,000 right down the toilet.
Full circle turn there of how you get around having to be regulated. Don't let the people know that they're supposed to be hiring anybody. Don't ever hire anybody. And then when it comes to budget cuts, let's just throw that in the budget cut. So nobody can ever be hired and we can't be regulated. That's good.
Hey, democracy at its finest. We really, really winning here in Colorado. Again, I love this place. We got some bullshit happening.
It's bullshit.
It's bullshit. We should load that clip of that baby
and just keep playing that. Yeah. So how they even came across this, the apparent oversight came to light this week when a legislative budget staffer looking line by line for things to cut from the state's operating budget to close a $1.2 billion shortfall, discovered an oddity. $400,000.
Wait. Hold on a second. We have internal governments in Colorado auditing the Colorado government.
No, it seems like
Wait, who's protesting that?
Well, yeah, no. So while this legislative budget staffer is looking through it, going line by line, they discover the oddity that's a $400,000 budget for an agency that had no employees, hadn't made a budget request, and didn't appear to exist anywhere but on paper. The independent agency does not exist, Craig Harper, the legislative budget staff director, told the Joint Budget Committee this week. There's no staff, there's no one that has been hired. So that's good.
Well, where did this $400,000 go?
So I think that's just in the budget. I don't know that it was actually ever spent, right? So they allocate budgets for spending, right? Yeah. And
but we're at a $1.2 billion shortfall for spending.
Yeah. So they're trying to cut budgets, and that's how they found this. So they assign the two Republicans, the two Democrats, and the judge. Nobody ever does anything
without their knowledge.
And then and they don't even know they're supposed to do it. And then we go through the budget, and nobody just remembers. Nobody moves forward on any of it, and then we just decide, since nobody ever did, we're just going to cut that $400,000 out of the budget and not worry about it. We'll use that money somewhere else. Maybe we'll give it to people protesting Tesla. Who knows? We'll see. They got to get money somehow, right?
Oh man.
Yeah. So we find corrupt judges. We think it's bad. We decide, okay, we can put $400,000 towards a regulatory committee, and then nobody ever does anything about it.
That sounds a lot like when Obama was talking about finding wasteful spending, and then nothing ever happened, and now Elon is actually finding it, and letting everyone know, full transparency, and they're protesting him.
Yeah,
that's kind of like what this is. Like, we're gonna get the corrupt judges.
Yeah.
No, not really. Don't actually do anything. Don't actually do it.
Yeah.
Don't hire anyone. Just put some names down. They'll never even know we use their name because nobody's going to do anything.
Let's just say stuff and write stuff down that sounds really good and then never move forward with it. That sounds like a Colorado blue thing to do.
Yeah, the Democratic way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess if anything comes of that, we'll
see.
Update you, but I feel like nothing will come of that.
No, they're going to cut it from
a super blue state, mostly filled with California people.
Yeah, that's really what it
is. All right. Any more on that?
No, I think that's pretty much what we know.
So all right, next story up. Also brought to you by CBS News.
Oh.
This is great. The University of Colorado Springs, under investigation over alleged diversity, equity, and inclusion practices.
Nice.
So, article says the University of Colorado Springs is one of over 50 institutions facing federal investigations in the Trump administration's efforts to end diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. The Department of Education is looking into whether the school is engaging in what it calls race exclusionary practices in its graduate programs. Secretary of Education Linda McMahon said students must be judged according to merit and accomplishment, not prejudged by the color of their skin. UCCS said the complaint is focused on one of the many platforms it uses for recruiting. The university asserted UCCS does not discriminate in its recruitment or hiring practices. On Friday, an appeals court lifted a block on President Trump's executive order to end government diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Universities across the country have made changes in recent months in an effort to comply with the order. In February, hundreds of CSU students protested after the university announced plans to follow White House DEI directives. So I feel like it's important that we talk about this for just a minute and then move on. But DEI, with the words that they use, diversity, equity, and inclusion, are all positive words.
Mm-hmm.
What it really means, because you can call a turd a lipstick, but whatever you call it, it still smells like shit.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, uh, diversity, equity, and inclusion is basically saying we're going to have this many minority, black, Mexican, Indian, whatever, hires or students or people in this master's program or whatever, right?
Yep.
And we're not going to take them on their merit. So if you're like a student and you're working your ass off trying to get into a graduate program, and you know that you've put in the work for that scholarship or even just to be admitted into the program, and then somebody else comes along and they have a diversity, equity, and inclusion program set up in their institution, and they have to have, whatever, 5 black people, 5 Mexican people, 5 whatever. You might not make the cut, even though you worked hard and you had the merit to get in. You have the grades to get in. You have your research, you have whatever to get in, but they don't let you in because of whatever reason. I'm not racist. You're not racist. This is just a bad idea. Like if we take another perspective of this, okay? If you have DEI at an airline, are you going to hire the best qualified pilot?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you going to hire someone because you need to hire 5 black people?
Mm-hmm.
I want to get where I'm going safely. And if you happen to be black and you're the most qualified person, awesome. That's great. I want you there. But I don't want you there just because your skin color, right?
Right.
So that's really what it boils down to. You can hate me for it, but
It works the same for whether you're black, Mexican, or white.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm a white guy and I suck at being a pilot, I shouldn't be the pilot.
No, you shouldn't.
It doesn't matter, right? It fucking doesn't matter.
But they never add white people into that, right? So
sure.
White people are automatically like not included in that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that's the problem. So that's reverse discrimination, right? I think.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can see that.
So now you're not inclusive because you're telling this guy that worked his ass off, or say this girl, this immigrant that legally immigrated to the United States, and she came with the promise of the American dream, and she's learned English and she did everything, and she's worked so hard to become a pilot because that was her dream as a child. You shouldn't not include her either.
Right.
If she's a badass, then let her be a badass.
That's all that matters.
All right. So yeah, so I really feel like, just like anything that we talk about here, it seems like really just common sense. Like, okay, that's not going to make the playing field level for anyone. Like, maybe you didn't, maybe you're not smart enough. And I'm not saying that you're not. Maybe
Right.
you're not, maybe you didn't study hard enough. Uh, maybe you just aren't that good at math, or maybe you just didn't take it seriously or something.
Yeah.
Either way, whatever factor it is,
Right.
we still want the best pilot to fly us safely to our destination.
Yep. For sure. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Right.
So we shouldn't be having planes falling out of the sky because we hired a crazy white guy.
That's
Either.
yeah. That'd be preferable.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I mean that's all I have. I've on that topic. I feel like it's pretty straightforward to DEI was, again, the words are nice. The
Sure.
words are good.
Sure.
But the way it is actually handled, the way it actually is not nice.
That's not
So
so
it's
much.
discriminatory either way,
Hmm. I could definitely see that.
you know.
Definitely see that.
All
Somebody's
right,
getting.
so we talked about this one other thing. DEI is so stupid. I really want one day for us to stop talking about retarded things.
I
Um,
agree.
it's like, come on, man. Why are you fighting for this? You're, again, back to what I said earlier. You're really paying and fighting for your own demise, which
Yeah,
is so stupid.
that's for sure.
We need to touch on one other thing, just kind of moving on from the last DEI thing. The state senator Sonia Jaquez Lewis,
Okay.
that resigned. We talked about this a few
Yeah.
weeks ago, and she's now under investigation by Denver and Boulder DAs after resigning amid ethics probe.
Hmm.
Um, and she is a Democrat. She was under Longmont jurisdiction or whatever, uh, is where her seat was. And apparently, she was really a horrible person to the people under her.
Hmm.
So I think it was just an ethical thing. Uh, she resigned, but now they're investigating it to see if there's
I think she resigned
any.
mid ethics probe too, right?
Yeah,
So they started the probe. She probably got scared and then resigned because she's treating her staffers like shit. Does that sound about
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. Basically, that's the gist that I get from this article. This one's on Denver7.com.
Okay.
Apparently, they tried to. She had forged a letter that she had sent to the investigators or something like that. Anyway, she's a jerk. She resigned from her post, and now they're, um, yeah, a letter that Lewis submitted to defend herself against the ethics probe into her treatment of her staff.
Hmm.
Gonzalez said constituent of Jaquez Lewis previously contacted Boulder prosecutors and then emailed Gonzalez to ask if charges would be filed against the now former senator. That email, Gonzalez said, prompted her conversations with the two county district attorneys. So We'll see. I mean, it doesn't sound like she was corrupt, or at least not in this article, but she's at the very minimum a horrible person. She treats people like shit.
Well, there's lots of those people out there.
Yeah.
And last on the list, good old Doge.
Oh, Doge!
There's a lot of Doge talk these days, right? So one of the things Doge is doing to help with spending cuts is they are cutting leases, government building leases that are not necessary. Here in Colorado, they're cutting leases as well. Over 9.4 million in leases, included, totaling 355,000 square feet. Some of the leases are for things like the biggest one is a office of the secretary, a $2.9 million annual lease, 86,000 square feet in downtown Denver at 1670 Broadway. There's like 20 of them on this list. I looked up some of these. A lot of them are in high rises, so you can't really see them, but I did find some that were kind of interesting. There's like U.S. State Fish and Wildlife Services, Corps of the Engineers, Civil Engineers, Employment Standard Administration and Wage and Hour Divisions, Office of U.S. Attorneys in Grand Junction. But I like actually took the addresses and Google mapped some of them, and they just look like empty warehouses, like just sitting there. There's nothing going on with them. It's very interesting. Why we are spending all this money on just $9.4 million annually a year on nothing. And what's interesting is this is also going on at the same time as, Trump is making everybody go back to work in the office. So I'm wondering if some of these are getting cut because nobody's going back to work. And so we are having empty office buildings and empty buildings just sitting there, not being used, that we're just blowing money on for no fucking reason. Right. Interestingly enough, I reached out about one of them because I'm interested in leasing one of them. So if it becomes if it becomes available, bonus. I got the inside scoop that I know it's becoming available. So, but there is like that's just for Colorado. I looked through the big list, which is on Doge's wall, and there's like 20 IRS buildings nationwide that they're going to shut down too, that they're ending the lease contracts on too. And so,
you mean those 87,000 IRS agents that Biden hired aren't going to have a place to go back to?
right. It's amazing. I wonder if they're actually working at all. It might be a money funnel as well.
What's so funny? It's like, okay, so when you get the jobs report, I don't know how often it comes, but whenever Biden has released the jobs report, he's like, oh, jobs are good, jobs are up, blah, blah, blah. Like, how can you call it a job when you just hired people for government shit? Like,
Yeah.
IRS agents that are controlling or taking the taxpayer money. Like, that's not a real job.
Yeah. Right. You just,
like, okay, I think everyone should be in alignment saying, okay, we get too many taxes taken from our paychecks.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
We're at like,
and it doesn't matter if you're a W-2 employee or if you're a 1099 or if you're a small business owner, or large business owner. It doesn't matter. You're paying a lot of taxes.
Yeah.
Right?
I think I read at the end of the day. So after the money that comes out of your check and all the money that you spend on taxes when you buy stuff, we're at like over 40% of our total income turns into taxes to go to the government. Right. I was doing a little research on the IRS too, and we'll get into this on another episode, but the the IRS has a unit called the CI, which is the Criminal Investigations Unit. They found that there was an organization that was funding terrorists, and they shut them down and put them in jail. And then, last week, we have a congressional hearing saying that USAID is funding terrorists, like to the tune of $40 million a year, or $40 million a week. Like, are you kidding me? So the IRS is shutting down people who are contributing and funding terrorists, but USAID is allowed to do it through NGOs, right?
Yeah, because they're an NGO.
Yeah. What? Like, how ass backwards is all of this, right? It's time for a clean slate. We just need to start all over, redo on everything. And you think about it, like, we're at over 40% of our income is going to taxes. It wasn't that long ago that we were rioting in the streets over a 2% T tax.
Yeah.
Like, what? We've had a major slide since then, right? But hopefully we can just get back to the tariff income, or how the government makes money is just off tariffs. That'd be great.
Yeah, let's switch that over to an external revenue service.
Yeah, I've heard.
And let them like tax the rest of the world for doing business here, not penalizing us who
Right.
are, granted, we won the fucking lottery, man. We were born in the United States. That's
For sure.
awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
But you have these other countries like, I'm not going to talk shit about any other countries. I don't know their life, but like, I just think, if you want to do your business, the largest consumer of everything in the world is us.
Yeah, right.
You want to do business here, you should pay for that.
It's funny that you say that, because like, we waste a lot of money. So it could be why people are out there protesting, because they're okay with the government wasting a lot of money.
Yeah.
We talk about a lot about how there's so many people here that live paycheck to paycheck. Imagine if the government stopped wasting money and we stopped wasting money on all the bullshit that we get sold that we don't actually need, right? There's so much out there that we buy that we don't actually need. It's kind of ridiculous. But we wouldn't be the biggest consumer in the world. Then the tariffs wouldn't even fucking matter, right? So
what's that?
Our own
18, what's that show? It's a spin-off of Yellowstone. It's like 1823 or something like that.
1923.
Yeah. And it's like this dude like selling you a refrigerator and all this shit. And they're like, okay, so you want me to work harder to pay you for something that I didn't need anyway?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just like, that's ingrained in my head. It's like, so now, like, and they're like, well, then what are you going to do with all your time if you don't need to work? Like, it's just like, it's such a backwards way of life that we live. Yeah. I mean, of course we like air conditioning in our house and heat. And of course we like, refrigerated products. But I'll tell you what, dude, if I dug into the back of my freezer right now, there's some freezer burn shit that I'm never going to eat.
I have 2 fridges and a deep freeze, and I live with me and 2 toddlers. Like, why do I have all this? I don't know. Right? We can't eat all of it. Like, I don't know. I'm a victim of it also.
We all are.
Yeah. It's funny though.
We all are. I definitely have a house full of shit that I don't need to.
Yeah. To be fair, my house came with all 3 of those units. I didn't buy any of those, but I have filled them. So.
I have a freezer at your house too.
Yeah, and you have a freezer at my house too. Right? I have 2 deep freezes, but that's not my stuff. So. Yeah. But either way, it's still wasteful spending, right? We do a lot of that as Americans. And the rest of the world sees it, and that's why they sell all of their shit to us.
Yeah.
Because we'll buy it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true. That's how
we all
China
say
is funding their world.
Yeah, it's just like we all say cigarettes are so bad. if we didn't want cigarettes around, we just shouldn't buy them.
So I wanted to talk about something last week that I forgot about.
All right.
And really just kind of end this day on a positive, or this episode on a positive note.
Yeah.
But I watched the movie Hustle. It's a Adam Sandler movie on Netflix. It's about a basketball player, and Adam Sandler's character is a recruiter, and he's like travels the world looking for talent in basketball. And he finds this kid in Spain, and he's a badass, right? But he's got a past. He's got, when Adam Sandler brings him to the United States, he's trying to, get him ready to go in front of the head office executives at the team that he's working with, and so he's got like a criminal background in Spain, and he's got some issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why I brought this movie up is, it really is like Adam Sandler movies are funny. I don't get all of his humor. I like Adam Sandler. I saw him at Ballerina when he came here to do his show last year, I think. But anyway, we grew up with Adam Sandler, right? I mean,
Yeah, sure.
I saw him when he was on SNL all the way till where he's at now. All of his movies, I love. Some of his movies are great, but this movie really especially touched me because it's a movie about perseverance and overcoming challenges, and I feel like you could take the basketball aspect of this movie out and it would still be a great movie, because it really shows hey, one, we love other cultures and other people from other parts of the world. And I think just it's a humanity thing. Like, we all have a past. I have one. You have one.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely affected my life. Some of the challenges that I've had to overcome, and some of the problems that I've brought on myself.
Yeah.
And this kid did. He brought some of his problems on himself because he has a little bit of a temper,
Gotcha.
But just overcoming challenges, and never giving up on your dreams, and
Right.
really just going after what speaks to you, what you're called to do, what you love the most. This specific thing is basketball. This kid rode the bus to work construction. He was playing basketball in work boots and just schooling people too.
Nice.
But just a great story of, again, overcoming the choices that you make in life, and the challenges that you're faced with. And we're not all born with a silver spoon up our ass. We're not all politicians where we can do insider trading and be millionaires in 2 years off of $150,000 a year salary.
Right.
Or anything. But but really just, I know I already said this, but really just following your dreams, man. And if you don't have a dream, just work at something. Find something that you love, If it's fucking knitting little stuffed animals or something, do that shit.
Right.
And I know that, I've worked a lot of jobs in my life. I've sold cars. I've done a lot of different things, construction, and now I'm a small business owner, and I'm gonna keep pushing that until my business is a household name.
Yeah. There you
go. And so anyway, I just thought that it was a really positive movie, and I think that we need more of that in our world, where we're so divided, we're so opposed on so many different things. I mean, you have people almost getting in a car accident over a fucking Cybertruck. Come on, dude. Really? That's what you got? That's what you're working with.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, it's crazy, man.
That's ridiculous.
But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that last week and I forgot. So
If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it.
yeah, I mean it was came out in 2022, I guess, 3 years ago, I guess. But it's on Netflix right now. I thought it was a great movie.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. Well, good show. Thanks everybody for watching. Please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. And leave a comment. We love seeing comments, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.